Hello, everyone. This is Aaron St. Dennis, the FF Mad Scientist, and welcome back to the Mad Science Lab podcast. Today, we're going to be continuing on with sleepers, breakouts, and busts. And here to talk that category with me is Ryan Miner. Ryan, thanks for joining me once again.
Yeah, thanks again, Aaron, for having me on.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure, always fun. We've done this a few times, I think. You're one of the more recurring guests, I believe, through four series, I think.
Yeah, the only one I missed was last month's Studs and Duds.
Yeah, you didn't miss much. It was okay. It was June, nobody really cared. All the stuff that applied in June doesn't really matter anymore. So, all right. Well, do you want to take a second to plug yourself here before we get into it?
Sure. Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at RyanMiner_FFB, just like the title on the screen. You can find all my work over at fffaceoff.com. We're part of the Faceoff Sports Network.
All righty. Well, without further ado, I guess we shall get into it. We will start with your sleeper. That would be, if I could bring it up, there we go. Miami. It's so weird seeing Miami with a Texas A&M graphic, but Miami running back Devon Achane. Fantasy Pros 2023 projections have him as RB43. They project 542.8 rushing yards. Apparently, I'm dyslexic. 3.1 rushing touchdowns, 27.1 catches for 226 through the air with one receiving touchdown. Why is Achane your sleeper?
Just because the way this offense runs, man, they have a three-headed backfield right now with Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson right now. You take those two running backs, combine them, you got yourself a Devon Achane. This offense is going to be a powerhouse, I feel like, still. And with the Mike McDaniel offense being ran, he's gonna run the similar type of offense that he ran in San Francisco. So you're using that, he's gonna use that running back by committee type thing. And what team is not using running back by committee? Yeah. So, and he's the biggest knock on Achane that people hate is his size. He doesn't have the size, he doesn't have the weight. But you look at him, he doesn't play that kind of style. He plays bigger than he actually is. So I'm really excited to see how he actually turns out this year. I'm getting him everywhere in every draft I do right now. And I'll be looking forward to getting him more as the summer goes along.
I don't think I own him anywhere. In Dynasty startups, I really liked him at the beginning of the season. He was one of those players, like I always say, my prime example is Kyle Pitts. I was the Pitts guy the year of his grad, like the year he came out, and then by the time draft season came around, he had gotten steamed up so high, I ended up with no shares of the guy that I was the guy beating the drum on. Achane, he was my guy for a long time. He got kind of steamed up in rookie drafts. I don't really have him anywhere.
I was thinking I was willing to take him as early in the middle of the first in rookie, like one QB rookie drafts, but I've been getting him at the later end. So I wasn't reaching on him too much, but I pretty much took him in every draft I was able to get him in.
Oh, see, well, okay, maybe in single QB, I was willing to go that high, but I don't think I took him anywhere in the first round. There was one team, my main work league, where I got the option to take him it came to my final pick because I was loaded up on first round picks. My final pick was at the 206. And my options were Kendre Miller, Achane, and Mingo, and I didn't take Achane, so I think I'm a lot lower on him. I'm bringing up the ADP here, if I could get it on the damn screen. 1 sec. You can tell I haven't done this all week. My last show was on, like, Saturday or something. I'm a little rusty, but okay, there we go. We've got it up. I just had him on here. Fantasy Pros, there he is. RB41, 108 overall. I don't mind that. I agree with everything you said talent-wise. I think he's by far the best running back in the group. This is just one of those rookie veteran situations that scares me, like with what's his name, Javonte Williams. I think he'll come in and definitely be the best back, but I think after just signing the two veterans, I think he's probably a better dynasty asset for me than he is redraft. I worry that he's not just going to win the the job here straight away, and that Wilson and Mostert are going to be a pain in the ass. Pain in the ass. But I know if one of them goes down to injury like they always do, I think he'll be a steal. I just think for redraft, he's kind of risky. Well, what do you think? How do you think it plays out, year one between the three of them?
No, and I totally agree with you. Like, he's kind of like that risky pick, but he's also like where you're getting him at that late in drafts at 108. You're already kind of at that point where you're kind of shooting for upside plays as it is. So he's one of those like upside play bench players I like to add because realistically, he's really just one injury away. But he can also be. I mean, look at how long Raheem Mostert stays healthy. Look how Jeff Wilson stay healthy. Those are two running backs that have a hard time staying healthy. Plus, they have so many other running backs there and I just think it's just going to be A-Chain's field. Plus, that third-round pick that they used on A-Chain was originally the offer that they offered for Dalvin Cook. So,
yeah, to be fair, like you said, look at this range with A-Chain. All the running backs I like in this range, Miller, Roschon, they're all also rookies in, three-headed backfield. So I don't hate him or the situation, and I definitely don't hate this range. It says 108 here. He always seems to go much higher than 108 in my drafts. Like I feel like if I got to this spot on the board and he was on the board still, I think I would take him, but I don't find he ever goes with these guys. Like even if you can still see this on the screen, right? Yep.
Yes. Yep.
I find he goes more in this group with the Swift, White, Pacheco, Javonte at 73. I find by the time we get down to where he's supposed to be in ADP, he's long gone, and that's why I don't have him at all.
Yeah, that one is a little high. I can see that where you're coming from on that. I'm trying to see where he went in one of my drafts that I'm in right now.
Yeah, I was trying to think too. I don't know if I've done any redrafts that are. Well, I mean, all the redraft drafts I finished are like Scott Fishbowl, where they're super flex, so it's going to be tougher to gauge. I don't know if I've done any redraft for single QB, but so I guess for me, it all depends on. Like, I like him as a sleeper. I think he definitely has the potential to be a huge breakout and could be a league winner if it breaks right for him. If I can get him at 108, and then you get lucky and one or both of Mostert and Wilson goes down, he could be the draft pick of the year. It's just there, like you said, though, at 108, even if that doesn't happen, it's what's that, a 9th, 10th round pick? So
yeah,
you don't really eat the cost that much, so it's not terrible.
So in 2 charity leagues I'm in, I just took him at the 1008, and then in another draft, he went at the 1212.
Oh, so he's going there for your leagues.
Yeah.
Maybe just my leagues. Are those analyst leagues, or what did you say they were?
Yeah, they're analyst / fan leagues, but they're all done on Sleeper also too. So
yeah,
and it also varies a lot too on what site you're using because like we're like my site's sponsored by Fantrax and I can use theirs. I think I can get him even later. I think he can go like 12th, 13th round.
Oh, I tried. I was gonna. Do I have a draft room open? I'm trying to look it up right now to see. I'm in a sleeper room right now. One sec. A-Chain. He comes to, okay, so he's coming up at 135 according to the sleeper ADP that you get in a sleeper draft room. So for him to be coming up on their board as 135.9, I'm not sure why he's going so high in the drafts I'm in. I guess I just happen to get the guy who's super high on him in every league, but at that price, I definitely don't mind taking the home run swing for him. So I don't hate that for sure. We will move on to your breakout pick. That would be LA Rams running back Cam Akers. Fantasy Pros has him projected as RB23. Projections are 1,003.9 rushing yards, 6.3 TDs, 22.7 receptions for 190.7 receiving yards, and a half a touchdown. This is someone I'm definitely on board with. I have quite a bit of shares of him. Actually, I'm going to transition right off here quickly and bring up the ADP because that's always my favorite talking point with Akers. He seems to go there we are. Okay. He seems to go up here in this group of 3 that I love. It is Akers, Sanders, and Dobbins. And right now he is the cheapest of the 3. But in this like 3, 4, 4, 5 turn here, I love targeting these 3. I find Dobbins, Sanders, and Akers fall. and I own a ton of them. And if Akers remains the cheapest, he's going to be the one I own the most of. Why is he a breakout for you?
So we always liked Akers since day one he was drafted, but he's never returned that value that we saw. And then, it was always that year his rookie year, we started breaking out at the end. And then he tore his Achilles and then missed all of was all the 2022 or 2021 season. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Then last year, he's back. We're starting to draft him high again. We're picking him up as an RB2. And you could see that like he was still not quite over that injury. Like he was very hesitant. He wasn't explosive. But for the fantasy managers who had him last year and was able to kind of get by with him, if you would have followed along with him, he really like took off at the end of the season. And when he took off the end of the season, he was putting up back to back to back. He finished like 6 weeks as an RB1.
He did the same thing to end his rookie year, didn't he? It took him forever to get into the lineup and get a major role. And then when he came on, he crushed it the last 6 weeks. And then we seen the injury and then the doghouse, and he crushed it for 6 weeks again. So I definitely see why there is some hope for him. That coaching staff and whatever the hell is going on there scares the crap out of me, but I definitely like it.
And they didn't put anyone really behind him. I mean, yeah, you can say Zach Evans, but Zach Evans was like a 6th, 7th round pick. So he's really no threat. Kyren Williams is no threat. Cam Akers, he's that solid RB2. A lot of you can even take like the way drafts are going out. Like a lot of drafts I've noticed are starting out wide receiver, quarterback, and then they start going, either tight end or running back. And you can actually get Cam Akers to be an RB2 as your RB1.
Actually, the free agent signing that they did make at running back just only encourages me to do it, because they brought back, what's his name? Sony Michel. He's no threat there. So, but if they brought in Sony Michel, you're not going to have to worry about them bringing in a Zeke or a Dalvin Cook. So I think if anything, it solidifies his role as the number one while providing minimal competition. So I like that.
So his rookie season, he did what he did last year. The year prior, or 2022, he missed, 2020. Man, I keep doing this. 2021, he missed the whole season with the Achilles tear.
I've been doing it too. I haven't adjusted to the new season just yet.
Last year, he did the same thing as he did his rookie season, but this year, as of right now, as we speak here, there is no injury, no competition. I feel like he's just going to pick up where he left off, and people are going to get a tremendous value on him.
Yeah, no, I definitely like it. Like I said, in this range here at anywhere between 3rd and 5th round, even later sometimes, I have a ton of Dobbins, Sanders, and Akers. And like I said, Akers seems to be the cheapest by about 10 to 12 picks. So I am going to be owning a lot of Cam Akers, and hopefully he comes through for me.
You and me both.
All right, we will move over to your bust. This is a spicy one. Your bust pick is Chicago quarterback Justin Fields. Fantasy Pros projection is QB6. They project 2,912.1 passing yards, 20.4 passing TDs, 12.6 interceptions, an insane 1,070.2 rushing yards, and 6.9 rushing touchdowns. So he's living pretty heavily here off of the rushing touchdowns. What's your case for why he is going to be a bust?
Have you seen the way he plays? He's a warrior. He's like a Lamar Jackson. Like, I'm not knocking him for like being QB6. No. I'm just knocking him with this play style and what could the injuries that could happen to him. But additionally, if you look from his week 1 through 4, he was a mediocre quarterback. It was from week 5 on to the end of the season. 48.4% of his fantasy points were from his rushing alone. And you saw a lot of teams, they played deep safeties, and they would force him to run. Yeah, we love the fantasy upside of rushing and getting all those points. But what makes me nervous is like you're putting all your eggs in one basket with him, and that starting quarterback out there, and he's costing quite a bit. I've been seeing him go 4th, 5th round. And that value is just like, if he gets hurt, it's like you reach on a quarterback who could actually be hurt and be out for the season. And yes, you could say the same thing for Jalen Hurts, and we're all taking him high. And look what he did last year. But at the same time last year, he too got hurt.
No, I don't disagree. I know it sounds terrible, and people are just going to say I'm playing it too safe. But I've always been, especially in Dynasty, but even in redraft, I've always been the guy as far as quarterbacks. I go for like, if you give me the options, maybe Josh Allen's a bad example, and even Jalen Hurts, but if they have that second kind of tier, it's been Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Justin Fields, and Lamar Jackson. Give me the two non-rushing quarterbacks all day. I will have 100 shares of them. If they all go in the same exact time and I have to choose one, I'm going to have a ton of Herbert, a ton of Burrow, and very little Fields and Jackson. I agree 100%. The added risk and, it's the rushing yards. I hate relying on the rushing yards, and those passing, the passing stats are terrible. I'm not sure. I think people are overestimating the addition or the difference DJ Moore is going to make here. It's just one guy. He's a wide receiver 2 at best. I don't think he has what it takes to be okay. You want to say QB 9, QB 10, even QB 12, but QB 6. I feel like we're drafting him above his ceiling, or at very least right at it. And I think it's too risky.
Well, yeah, you look at his first 5 weeks of the season. I'm looking at his rushing stats right now. He only had one game above 50 yards. Now it's 52 yards. After that, he was averaging 88, 82, 60, 178, 147. I mean, it's like those stats can't keep happening. I just don't see it. I see his rushing stats coming down. Yes, he still has that rushing upside. So does Lamar Jackson. So does Jalen Hurts. But look where we're drafting Lamar Jackson at right now. Yeah. We're drafting him in the same tier. So, we expect him, and he could, and I could be wrong, and I'm fine with being wrong. Justin Fields could finish as that QB1. But if he finishes as the QB1, we're going to be drafting him next year super high, and then he could have the same thing as Lamar Jackson did, where he gets hurt. And then, that rushing ability that we're relying on is no longer there, and they're trying to make him a pocket passer.
And that's what everyone's saying, though. They're going to say, well, look at his rushing stats in the games where he was healthy. And if you exclude the games where he wasn't healthy at the end of the season, his rushing numbers are insane. The average. So the A's are statted if you watch fantasy football.
Oh, yeah.
The A's are statted, but you can't make that claim. Okay, well, you can't exclude the games where he was hurt. He's a rushing quarterback. He's going to get hurt. Look at Josh Allen. It happens to Josh Allen for a couple of games every year. You can't just say exclude those rushing game or the injured games, because at some point he's going to get banged up, and that rushing upside is going to fall out, even if it's one game, half a season. What was it? The last 4 games last year. I ended up he was my starting quarterback in a league that I won the championship in. I benched him, I think, for the last 6 weeks of the season in favor of Trevor Lawrence, who I got off the waiver wire in a single QB league, just because once he appeared to be banged up, you didn't know if he was going to play. And when he did play, he didn't run the ball at all because he was so banged up. So I don't like it.
And it's funny, too, because the Fantasy Pros projections gives them 2,912 yards. He hasn't thrown for over 2,250 yet. So
no, I know.
To go from 2,250 to almost 3,000, I mean, that's quite the jump. And I can see where they're coming from. They're probably thinking with DJ Moore coming out, they finally give him a true wide receiver because Darnell Mooney wasn't that receiver. And it's all right, well, Cole Kmet was our actually lead receiver last year. Yeah. And he just got a massive contract too. So does he take that next step also? But if those two take the next step, that means Fields has to take the next step, right?
I don't know. I don't know if DJ Moore is that guy. So they're giving him credit for the passing stats in I'd have to look it up here. Give me one sec. But they're giving him passing stats that he had at Ohio State. I'm sure when I look it up here, his passing numbers were better than that at Ohio State, but my passing numbers at Ohio State would be better than that, so that's probably not fair.
Well, yeah, remember, too, if you were passing Ohio State, you were also throwing to 4 first-round wide receivers, too.
So all right. So in his first year at Georgia, toss it. It was oh, damn it. Oh, no, that's weird. It came up. Okay, there it was. First year, 328 passing yards, throw it out. His second year, he had 3,273 passing yards. So he beat their projection on an Ohio State team dominating college. He beat it by a couple hundred yards. 2020, it was 2,100 yards. He missed some time, but I don't know if he can throw for 3,000 yards in college, let alone in the NFL. So I don't like relying solely on the the rushing numbers. Jalen Hurts, I get it. Jalen Hurts passes too. I don't see how he can do this solely as a rusher.
Let's see. So 2,912 passing yards divided by, let's say he plays all 17 games. That's 171 passing yards a game.
I wonder how many times a game he did that last season.
Well, and that was about his average last season. He was actually even worse than that. Yeah, he only had 2 games over 200 yards last year, and everything else. I mean, 170. Well, wait. So if you take out those 200-yard games, he had
2 200-yard games, and then after that, 1 game over 190, and then he never topped 180.
Yeah, the other ones were 179 and 174. So
in 5 of the other games, he was under 100 or 150 or under, and then he has 153. So
even that second week too, he had 70 passing yards, and then that game against Detroit against the Lions, he only had 75 passing yards. And I was watching that game, and the defense would just drop their safeties deep, and he let Fields run around. It's like, go ahead and run because we're going to take you out. So defenses are going to adjust like they always do every year. They got tape on them. They're going to adjust. Every team adjusts.
They're going to start sending a QB spy just to follow him so he can't get outside the pocket on his own, and just those plays where him and Kyler Murray, where they look like a little kid who stole their parents' cell phone and they're just running in circles. He's not going to get to do that this year, and they're going to get on him. So
perfect example right there. Kyler Murray. Look at him and look where he's at now. Tore his ACL.
Injured again. Injured nonstop.
Yeah, I mean, what more can I say? I mean, I don't hate the player. I just hate the ADP. And
exactly.
We're just overvaluing Justin Fields in general.
I agree 100%. All right, Ryan. Well, thank you for joining me. You want to take another chance here to plug all your pluggables?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter all the time. Ryan Miner _ FFB. You can find all my work at the Faceoff Sports Network at fffaceoff.com.
I am happy that I got through a show and somebody screwed up their name and it wasn't me. It's always me. I screw up mine, and watch. I'll screw up the name of my show on the way out here just because I taunted you for it. So. All right. Well, this has been Sleepers, Breakouts, and Busts with Ryan Miner. Once again, I am Aaron St. Dennis, the FF Mad Scientist. Got my name right. Score. This has been the Mad Science Lab podcast. Thanks again to Ryan for joining me, and thank you all for tuning in. Have a good night.